Hi, pre-algebra students. This is the lesson for 7.2 on multiplying polynomials. You remember yesterday we were adding and subtracting polynomials, so today we're going to multiply. And so far you've had lots of practice with multiplying one number or one term by a polynomial, and you know that is the distributive property. So it's going to be very similar to that, but today instead of multiplying by a monomial, we're going to be multiplying a binomial times a binomial, or a binomial times a trinomial, which is a little bit more challenging. So I'm going to give you a couple of methods. The first method, which really is just the distributive method, is called the FOIL method, where we distribute and combine like terms. And then method 2 is called the box method. So I'm going to show you both of those. I'm going to ask that you try both of those, and then beyond this, you can pick whichever one you think you like best or works best for you. Okay? So let's look at our first example. In this first one, you have x plus 3 times x plus 5. So both of those terms, the x and the 3 in the first binomial, have to be distributed to both terms in the second one. So one way to do that is using the FOIL method. And the FOIL method is just an acronym that helps you remember how to distribute correctly so that you make sure you distribute each term. So F stands for first. So we're going to multiply our first two terms together. So you're going to do x times x. O stands for outer, so you'll do your outer terms, x times 5. I stands for inner, so that's 3 times x. And L stands for last, so 3 times 5. And then you just add all of those together. Notice they're all combined by addition, or just pay attention to signs that precede the numbers. Okay, so I'm going to multiply. So I've multiplied my terms here. So I've simplified those expressions. And then in my last step, I just simplified it by combining my like terms. So my final answer is x squared plus 8x plus 15. In example 2, first of all, notice this is exactly the same problem, x plus 3 times x plus 5. This time we're going to use a box. So a box is just a way to help you organize your work when you distribute. So you take one binomial and you put it down the left side of the box. So I have x and then plus 5. Notice I'm going to keep the sign that precedes the number right here. And then across the top, I'm going to put the other binomial. So I have x plus 3. To be honest, it really doesn't matter which one you put on either side. So I could have put the x plus 5 up here, the x plus 3 down here. And then I'm just going to multiply. And this might look familiar if you remember when you were very young and you were first learning to multiply. You might have seen a multiplication chart. So that's kind of like what this is. So we're multiplying these two terms, and then they go in the box. So it's kind of like a matrix. X times x is x squared. X times positive 3 is 3x. And then down here, 5 times x is 5x. And then 5 times 3 is 15. And then if you notice, you're going to combine the terms here. Whoops. Kind of like on the diagonal, those terms are going to get combined. Hold on a second. Let me fix this. Okay, sorry about that. So I think I was saying then at that point, you just want to combine any like terms. So as you can see here, most likely they're going to be the terms on the diagonal. So you have the 5x and the 3x that you can combine. Okay, so if you want to stop the video and just pause it for a minute and try the next two on your own, you can do that. If not, keep going and I'll just talk you through those as well. Okay, so here are next two problems. And again, I'm going to do one using each method. So our first problem is the binomial 3x plus 4, and we're multiplying that by x minus 2. So I'm going to start by using the FOIL method. So I will begin by multiplying my first terms, 3x times x. O is my outer, so 3x times negative 2. Then my inners is positive 4 times x. And then my last is 4 times negative 2. And then again, you can see here I've simplified that. So I have 3x squared. Sorry, this keeps messing up. Okay, so I have 3x squared minus 6x plus 4x minus 8. And then I'm just going to combine my like terms in the middle. Just remember to pay attention to signs. And your final answer will be 3x squared minus 2x minus 8. Okay, next one, I used the box for this one. So notice I put the 4x and the minus 8 on the top. Notice how I have the minus in front of the 8, and then down the side I have the 4x plus 8. And I'm going to multiply. Okay, so 4 times 4 is 16. X times x is x squared. And then 4 times negative 8 is negative 32. So this is negative 32x. And then down here, 8 times 4x is positive 32x. And then 8 times negative 8 is negative 64. So again, combining these two terms on the diagonal, you can see that they are opposites. So this time they cancel. And what I'm left with is just 16x squared minus 64. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at a binomial times a trinomial. So I've given you actually several methods that you can use here. So I've showed you how to work this first problem two ways. So in the first problem, we're distributing the binomial 6x plus 5 to the trinomial 2x squared minus 3x minus 5. So the first thing I'm going to do is distribute one of the numbers. You can start either with the 6x or the 5. It looks like I think I've started with the 5 here. So I did 5 times 2x squared is 10x squared. 5 times negative 3x is negative 15x. 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. Then you have to go back and distribute the second term in the binomial. So 6x times 2x squared is 12x cubed. 6x times negative 3x is negative 18x squared, and 6x times negative 5 is negative 30x. And then again, you can see here in my work, I've kind of combined my like terms. Also notice when I write my final polynomial, I want that in standard form. So I want to start with my largest term. So I started with my 12x cubed. I had nothing to combine with that. 10x squared minus 18x squared is negative 8x squared. And then I have a negative 15 and a negative 30, which gives me a negative 45x, and then nothing to combine with the negative 25. So just really pay attention to your sign work. Okay, so over here, this is just a different way to organize work. I like to say here we're using a horizontal method. Here we're doing it vertically. I call this just stacking it. So again, kind of think of like how you learned how to multiply a 3-digit number by a 2-digit number when you first did that. So you're just stacking it, you're multiplying again, the 5, it's still distributing, the 5 gets distributed to the negative 5, then to the negative 3x, then to the 2x squared, and then the 6x gets distributed to all three terms. Notice as I write them down here, I'm lining up my like terms, and again, I can just combine those. The nice advantage of this is that it automatically lines up your terms in descending order so that it's already in standard form when you finish. Okay, so take a minute to finish that up, and we're going to look at one more method. So our last method is called the box method. So this is very similar to what we just did with a binomial times a binomial. So notice up there, because we were multiplying two terms by two terms, our box was a 2 by 2, so it had 4 boxes. Here, because we're multiplying a binomial times a trinomial, your box would be a 2 by 3, so it's going to have 6 boxes. So generally we'll put the longer one, so the 3 terms across the top. So I have my 2x squared plus 7x minus 8. Again, pay attention to signs that precede numbers. And then the binomial will go down the side, so you have 3x minus 5. And again, you're just multiplying this like a little matrix. So 3x times 2x squared is 6x cubed. And then I have negative 5 times 2x squared, which is negative 10x squared. Negative 5 times 7x is 21x squared. Negative 5 times 7x is negative 35x squared. Sorry, just x, negative 35x. And then negative 5 times negative 8 is negative 40. And I did 3x times negative 8, which is negative 24x. And then again, I'm just combining. So if you want, you can write them all out like I did over here and then combine like terms, or just think about it this way. Again, you're starting with your term that has the largest exponent. So the 6x cubed would come first. Then notice I'm combining these terms on the diagonal here. So 21x squared minus 10x squared is how I got 11x squared. And then I'm combining these two terms on the diagonal. Negative 24x minus 35x is negative 59x. And then I have my positive 40. Okay, so that's it. I think that should be enough to get you started on your assignment for today. We will certainly review and I will answer any questions that you have tomorrow. Have a great night.